Hey guys, what's up? It's Finn. I'm gonna do a video on how I care for my young gills. And this can go for perch, young bass. They pretty much will eat all the same thing. I have noticed the only difference is feeding. Uh, I'm gonna start, mainly. This is gonna be mainly based on my baby bluegill because that's what's last the longest out of my first batch of baby fish. Anyway, I have 5 baby gills in here, and I'm gonna just kind of start off with the living. Okay, these bluegill, they're pretty wide. Not pretty wide, but tall. To where their body width is like too big, for this big bluegill to eat. So I don't really have to worry about my bluegill eating them. I had 6. I lost 1, which is very typical, to happen. Usually, you do lose a couple fish when you bring them into, from, a lake or whatever. Remember, when you're transferring fish, let them get used to the water temperature, but do not put your lake fish pond or your lake water, pond water, river water, whatever. You don't want no kind of outside water getting into your aquarium because it will start a mess and could kill all your fish. But as for these guys on living, I have no heater. I do have a heater in there, only for like winter when it can get cold in this basement. But technically, I don't really have to have that heater on at all in the winter time because these fish are hardy fish and they can survive in really cold temperatures. They just go into like a sluggish mode. They do get stressed, and they are prone to more diseases come springtime when the water starts to warm up, and that's when all your parasites start to spread. I did notice that when I went up to the lake and went fishing, I caught a lot of gills and they all had the black spot parasite. A couple of babies did have the black spot parasite. I did treat the tank and they are free of the black spot parasite. There is no kind of signs whatsoever. The couple of spots that I did see are gone. My largemouth I have right there, he had an open sore on his tail. He is now healed and doing good. But you want to kind of make your tank resemble somewhat of like a, somewhat of like a lake effect. I have large gravel on the bottom, which is, it's okay. I kind of want to do a half gravel, half sand because, for breeding purposes. But my big bluegill, he does try to make a bed every now and then. But driftwood, I think, is really awesome to put in with your tank. It kind of gives that natural look. As for, that hiding spot, I think it's a good idea because it makes the fish feel safe. The fish feel safe, less stressed, less diseases, higher chance of survival rate. Filtration, hey, depending on your tank, gill, they can be very messy fish. And I just have 2 Emperor 400s on this tank. I have a sponge filter, which I highly recommend for any kind of aquarium that you're going to be running because it builds so much good bacteria really fast. And just have a good oxygen, good oxygen flowing through there to make these fish feel pretty good. My sponge filter has one in there, and then I have just a regular bubbler down there. And I also do have a power head since this is a bigger tank. It's 6 feet. Yeah, 6 feet. Yeah, 6 foot long and I think 20 or 18 inches wide. Excuse me. But I like to keep the water flowing, it's always good to have your water flowing, going good, rich oxygen getting into their gills. As for lighting, I just have a 48 strip up there, 48 fluorescent light strip up there. I have this space open right here. This tank is not done yet by any means. It's come a long way, but I have a little space right here. Let's say it's about 20 inches. Yeah. Or so, where light's not, over that spot. It kind of gives this dark, area, which gills do because they like to hide under docks. And, they don't like to be in the light all the time. So it's good, so it's kind of good to, if you can, kind of leave a dark spot, or going back to having the hiding spots, kind of the caves, driftwood gives them like the dark areas, and they can hide from the bigger fish if they still kind of feel like threatened. As for feeding, I feed my fish twice a day. My baby gills will pretty much eat anything that I put in there. They will try to eat big old waxworms that are like just way too big, Everything I put in there, I cut up. I've cut up the worms, I cut up the waxworms, I put brine shrimp. They love brine shrimp because when the bigger gills eat the brine shrimp, they kind of break it apart and they just go crazy. That's why I discovered they like the brine shrimp. It's kind of good to give your fish a variety because when they live in the lake, they have a variety of pretty much everything. To bugs, to plants, to snails. I mean, they're trying to survive, and they will pretty much, eat anything they can. But they do eat all of that. They eat everything I put in there. Even if you just miss this shrimp right here, depends on how big the piece is, but they'll go after it in brine shrimp. Let's see. If going back to the living conditions, my water temperature will stay probably about 64, 65, give or take, down here in the basement, which is perfect, I would say, for the water temperature. Usually on the lake temperatures, it might reach like 70. But they like to be down in the colder water anyways, As bluegills get, when they're not spawning, they're in 20 feet of water, or whatever they can, however deep the lake or pond is, they're going to be in that deep part because it's just like when a fish is in colder water, its metabolism is not as high, so therefore he's not losing his body weight, so he can stay down there for a while and not eat and be perfectly fine. Therefore, if you have a fish that's in shallower water, warmer water, his metabolism's going to be running and he's going to be hungry. He's going to be real hungry and he's just going to be moving. And most likely, if you have a bigger fish with smaller fish and that water temperature is high, he's probably going to eat your other fish because he's going to get hungry. He's going to want to eat more than twice a day or whatever. So I want to keep my temperature at room temperature, which is perfect. And when I do feed him, I feed him a lot. I make sure he gets a lot, and so he kind of doesn't have that urge to eat my other fish. Quick note, people who are watching this, if you have perch, make sure you get that worm down to them. I do notice they like to stay at the bottom. They will not come up to feed. So I kind of want to feed the other fish first, and I got to drop it right down in front of those perch, and they'll get it. But bluegill are real easy to raise, kind of too easy. Just know what you're doing. If you kind of sight any kind of fungus, bacteria growth, Pimafix and Melafix work great together. And make sure you monitor your water. Make sure you're testing for your ammonia, because ammonia spikes can be huge with these fish, as being as dirty as they are. They're just filthy eaters. They just they poop, and you kind of have to make sure that your water's not getting an ammonia spike. clean it out, vacuum out. I vacuum this thing out, you know, give or take 3 5-gallon buckets. So 15 gallons, this is roughly 130 gallon tank. So 15 gallons, I'll do that twice a month. And just get down in the gravel, clean it out, and you should be good to go. My water level is a little low. I like to kind of be at a couple inches higher. But other than that, real easy, guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to message me. I will get back to you within 24 hours. Any requests, feel free to message me. I'm open to anything, and I'm just willing to help people out because I've been raising these gills, my big gills now for like 4 years. So I've experienced, I've lost fish, I've, you know, went through all that. So any questions, guys, just message me. Thanks for watching.